study. This month, we're going to do a 2-day Bible study for you. So we're going to share some things with you. It's going to be short, it's going to be quick, but guess what? It is going to be worth it. So I'm so glad you have joined and you have accessed this YouTube link in order to get this information that you need. So this month, we're talking about love yourself to life, breaking lies, releasing shame, and becoming whole. How many of you have been believing the lies that other people have told you? You may have been living in some shame and some doubt because of things that have happened in your past or because of something somebody else said. How many of you are ready to become whole? You're ready to start that process to become whole. It takes one step, one moment at a time. So we're going to start with session 1. And we're really going to do 2 topics today, and we're going to do 2 topics tomorrow. So the voice in your head is not always telling the truth. You realize that? We get a lot of voices in our head. We get a lot of things that are said in our head, and we have to decide what we're allowed to plant root and grow in those thoughts in our head. So that voice in your head, sometimes it's truthful, but a lot of times it's not telling you the truth. And we have to make sure we don't give in to those lies. Okay, are you with me? Let's go. So there are going to be moments when we smile in public, but we criticize ourselves in private. We put on this mask. And I want you today to take off the mask. And I know I probably say it in every Bible study, take off the mask. Why do I keep saying it? Because so many women are still wearing a mask and pretending. And that mask is really heavy. And we have to learn to let it go. We criticize ourselves in private, but we smiling in public. We're smiling on videos. We're smiling to make other people think that everything is okay. Then what happens? We scroll through social media and suddenly we feel behind. We feel as though we're not where other people are. We're not successful enough. We're not pretty enough. We're not disciplined enough. And that voice, it gets louder and louder and louder, and it becomes more and more convincing. How many of you have been there? How many of you will say, yep, Dr. Monica, I've been there before? Some of you may be there right now. Hopefully by the time we finish these 2 days, you will have shifted. You're not there anymore. And you're not comparing yourself to other people. But not every thought that we have deserves our agreement. We don't have to agree with everything. We can pull it down, snatch down those negative thoughts immediately and replace them with positive thoughts. Sometimes that inner voice sounds like a former teacher, a parent, an ex. For many of us women, that voice sounds like an ex. And until we do our complete healing, that voice is still going to rear its ugly head. It can even sound like a past version of of our deeply hurt selves, of us when we were deeply hurt. It can sound like that voice. We internalize words spoken over us that have been years ago. Things people said to us years ago, we're still internalizing those words, and we're allowing that voice to have rule when it shouldn't have rule. Then we start to repeat what somebody else said as if it's a fact. And you know what? If somebody did say something that was constructive feedback, that was a fact, that you realize is a character that you need to change, do some self-reflection and make the necessary adjustments. Sometimes, though, the problem is that it's a lie, and we keep repeating that lie as if it is a truth. If we constantly tell ourselves that we're behind, guess what? Eventually, we're going to really feel like we're behind. We're going to stop doing things that we are doing that are productive because we don't feel like we're at the same place as somebody else is at. How many of you are watching people on social media saying, I'm not there where they are? But we don't know what all it took for them to get to where they are. We don't know how much work they have behind the scenes. We don't know how much support they have to get them to where they are. But the thing is we have to keep moving forward and not get stuck and get paralyzed because we're watching what somebody else is doing. And we definitely don't need to go through it stressing or feeling anxious. If we constantly tell ourselves we're not enough, we'll shrink in rooms that God has called us to be abundant in. We'll shrink in rooms where God has called us to use our voices in. And we won't say anything that God has designed and created us to do. We'll shrink in those rooms that God has said stand confidently and stand boldly in because we talk ourselves out of what we deserve. The mind is very powerful. It's very powerful. And we have to be careful of what we allow in and what we allow to settle, what we allow to take root, and what we allow to grow. What we rehearse, we're going to reinforce. So whatever thoughts we're rehearsing in our mind, that's what we're going to be, is going to reinforce and what's going to grow and what's going to be seen. And many of us are unknowingly reinforcing insecurity. Insecurity is a beast in itself. Healing begins when we question the script. Who told us that? Does God agree with it? And if not, why are we still saying it? The Bible tells us in 2 Corinthians 10:5 that we are to take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ, not every other thought. Not, okay, this thought I want to sit in. No. He said, take captive every thought that is against the word of God. That means we capture it and we replace it with the word of God. We replace it with who he says that we are. That means we don't accept everything that our mind says. Some thoughts are shaped by past wounds, comparison, rejection, and unrealistic standards that we place on ourselves. Unrealistic standards that we place on other people. Don't expect somebody to do something that you know they're not capable of doing. You are going to be disappointed. I am going to be disappointed. When a person shows you what they're capable of doing, and sometimes that capable of doing is hurting us. Sometimes that capable of doing are the harsh words that they say to us. Sometimes that capable of doing is absolute disrespect. So when a person shows you what they're capable of doing, stop putting unrealistic expectations on that person. Those unrealistic standards, those thoughts, that comparison, that rejection, those are not truths. Romans 12:2 reminds us to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Renewing is intentional. It's not some fly-by-night thing. When we renew our minds, we have to be intentional about it. When we make adjustments, we have to be intentional about it. It doesn't happen accidentally. We have to purposefully make the change. We live in a time where we are constantly measuring ourselves against filtered images and curated lives. Filters are getting people in a world of unrealistic appearances, unrealistic lifestyles. So we have to be careful. Stop filtering and catfishing. It's the same thing, because when you use a filter and then you show up, it's catfishing if you don't look like the person that you have portrayed. And I know women, we have seen where it's like, that is not the person that I saw on the pictures. They show up 10 years, 20 years older. Yeah, you know, and I'm just going to leave that at that. It gets exhausting whenever we're living these curated lives. And if we're not careful, we'll start speaking to ourselves in ways that we were never meant to speak to ourselves. We will speak to ourselves in ways that we don't speak to people that we love, in ways that we don't speak to our pastor or our pastor's wife or anybody else that we see in an authoritative figure. We don't speak to our best friends the same way that we speak to ourselves sometimes. We give them love. We give strangers sometimes more compliments than we give ourselves. So we have to be careful. Today, right now, is about awareness. What have we been repeating to ourselves? And I'm including myself in this too. I'm sometimes just as guilty. And where did it start? So where did it start? The negative thoughts, the thoughts that we aren't good enough. For the next 24 hours, I want you to notice your self-talk. What is it that you're saying to yourself? When you catch a negative thought, pause and ask, is this actually true? I want you to replace one recurring negative statement with a scripture-based truth about yourself, and I want you to say it out loud. Because there's something about when we say things that it becomes more powerful than when we just think them. Now, let's talk about you are not your worst mistake. You are not your worst mistake. We just talked about the voice in your head is not always true. And now we're going to talk about you are not your worst mistake. Some of us are carrying something very heavy. Now, I learned to release the heavy stuff, but every once in a while, heaviness and darkness, it does come. I would not be telling truth if I didn't be transparent with you about that. Sometimes that heaviness and that darkness, it still comes. But I've learned to recognize when that heaviness is starting to press down on me. When my thoughts are starting to get foggy. Some of us, we are carrying something very heavy. Some have shared it with others, while some continue to be quiet about it because they don't want anyone to know, because of shame, because of judgment, because of doubt. If that is you, I want to encourage you to find somebody that you can talk to who's not going to judge, who's not going to share your business, who's not going to go telling everybody, somebody who's going to make you feel secure when you do share with them. Some of us are carrying a failed marriage, a parenting regret, a financial decision, words that we wish we could take back, but we all know that once that word is said, it cannot be taken back. And we quietly believe that we deserve to feel bad forever about that decision, that word, how we parented our children, or whatever the case may be for you. But shame, it is never meant to be permanent. It is never meant to be, period. Growth, that's what's going to require that we stop confusing regret with identity. Regret, we can regret things that we've done, but it doesn't identify who we are today. It doesn't identify with who you are right now. No matter when you're watching this video, no matter what year you're writing this video, you have grown from the person that you once were. Yes, we all made some bad choices. And if anybody tells you they've never made a bad choice, I want you to question that person. Is that person really transparent, truthful? Are they honest? Are they? But are they trying to portray someone that they aren't? Because we have all made bad choices that either hurt ourselves or that hurt other people. Yep. We may wish, and we oftentimes wish that we handle situations differently. We can't do anything about what we did in the past, but we can change how we respond, react, and what we say, and how we do things right now and in our future. Regret is a signal, it is not a label. It's a signal that, yeah, I did something and I regret it. Shouldn't have done that, but it is not a label. When we attach our identity to failure, we stop moving forward. We stop moving forward when we attach our identity to a failure because we don't feel like we're worthy. We don't feel like we're worth moving forward. We don't feel like we're worth a better marriage. We don't feel like we're worth a promotion at our job. We don't feel like we're worth using our words for communication when we need to have those crucial conversations. What do? We settle into a quiet self-punishment, not telling anybody, but we're quietly self-punishing ourselves. Some of us sabotage new opportunities because we don't feel worthy of better. We don't feel like we're worthy. We downplay compliments. How many of us downplay compliments? We downplay compliments because we secretly believe we are flawed beyond repair. Baby, compliment me. I accept it. Thank you. I learned that a long time ago from a senior woman when I was younger. If somebody compliments you, accept and receive that compliment because they saw something that was nice that they wanted to share with you about. So accept that compliment. We're not flawed. We're not beyond repair. Accept that compliment. Grace is not permission to stay the same. It's not. It's empowerment to rise differently. So I'll say that again. Grace is not permission to stay the same. It is empowerment to rise differently, to do things in a different way. When God forgives, He does not bring it up again to shame us or to cause us problems. We're the ones who's always bringing it up. He doesn't bring it up. So why should we? He forgives us. He moves on. He's got the whole world in his hand. He ain't got time to be coming back saying, girl, remember when you did XYZ? Neither should we. So why are we still bringing it up ourselves? Why are we still bringing up things in the past? Healing requires us to release the gavel that we keep holding over our own head. You want to release the gavel? You want to stop that pressure from being over your own head? Start your healing process. Move forward. Let it go. Romans 8:1, there is now no condemnation, none, absolutely none, zilch, zilch. No condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. No condemnation. Say it with me. No condemnation. Write it in the chat. No condemnation. That means we are not meant to live under constant sentence of guilt. We are not meant to live with guilt. 1 John 1:9, if we confess, He is faithful to forgive and to cleanse us. So confess, He'll forgive, and He will cleanse us. Cleanse, not partially, but completely, which means that you have to be completely open and ready for your healing to move forward and not allow what's in your thoughts to take root. Not every thought deserves to sit and settle. Not every thought is true. And your past is not who you are right now. The enemy wants us defined by our lowest moment. God defines us by His grace. So we want to be defined by His grace all the time. We are living in a culture that counsels quickly and forgives slowly. They will cut you off in a minute. They will cancel you, say that you're not, let me switch that up. They will cancel us, switch it up, say that we are not, say that we're not relevant, and they will cancel us quickly, but they will forgive very slowly. How many of you know somebody who canceled you quickly for something minor, minute, and have yet to forgive, still holding a grudge? And you know they holding a grudge, but yeah, you keep loving on them anyway. I know somebody like that. But you know what? I keep loving on the person anyway, whether they love on me or not, whether they communicate with me or not, and I don't think we've talked in probably a year, maybe. No, it hasn't been a year. It's been a while. It's been at least about 6 or 8 months, but I still do my check-ins of, hey, so-and-so, just checking in to see how you're doing. Do I get those same? I'll get a response. But then do I get what I used to get, which was maybe a monthly check-in to say, hey, just checking in to see how you're doing. I have not since this person got upset with me about something very minor, taking a picture. Because I didn't take a picture. Um, and it's like, really? That's where our friendship is going down the drain? Because I didn't take a picture that you asked me to take because other people were taking. Anyway, so you have to be aware. People will cancel you quickly and forgive slowly. People will hold a grudge over something minor and major, but they'll hold a grudge over something minor and cancel you as if you never existed in their life. So, do we let that slow us down and stop us from moving forward? Absolutely not. We continue to move forward with our lives. Sometimes we've adopted some harshness toward others, but growth requires honesty and grace. So, what do I want you to do? I want you to identify one mistake you are replaying over and over and over and over and over again. Surrender that mistake to God, specifically in prayer, and ask for his perspective. Ask his perspective, and he will give it to you. But you got to sit quietly to listen and to hear. You can't always be busy expecting to hear from God. Make one forward moving decision this week that reflects who you are becoming, not who you are. That reflects who you are becoming, not who you are. So, today we talked about the voice in your head is not always telling the truth, and you have to believe that. You have to recognize when the voice comes and it's not truthful. Yeah, I need to replace this thought immediately. And then we also talked about you are not your worst mistake. We've made some mistakes, but we are not our worst mistakes. We have grace, and that grace is going to carry us through. Thank you so much for joining me for today's Bible study. I appreciate you. Please post your comments. Let me know your thoughts, and let's move forward. And I'll see you tomorrow for day 2. It's your girl, Dr. Monica, and I absolutely love you to life.